Everyone but Hecarim mains can rejoice, as he'll be falling out of meta due to some major nerfs. The ADC meta is on the brink of a massive shakeup as Zeri has fallen miserably while Lucian is taking over the reins. All this and much more as we give you guys an update on the solo queue meta thanks to the help of our challenger players and the analysis of the most recent data. But before we get into it, be sure to check out Skill Capped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. A bunch of new skins are prepped to release this patch, with Ashen Knight Pike, Battle Bat Vayne, Battle Bunny MF, Battle Bunny Prime Riven, Battle Cat Jinx, and Battle Wolf Silas as the 6 additions. It now makes sense why Riot went a little lighter on those recent Jinx nerfs, as she'll be receiving the Prestige skin. Some fleet footwork nerfs are penciled in, with the heal being lowered from 40% bonus AD to 30%. AP ratio on the heal is lowered as well, going from 30 to 20%. Jhin is one champ affected quite heavily by this nerf, as he stacks a ton of bonus AD. Graves Jungle is another fleet user who's negatively affected, so it's likely the priority on Dark Harvest rises back up for both champions. Legend Bloodline Rune will have its lifesteal per stack lowered from 0.6% to 0.4%. A compensation buff is being thrown in though, as you will now gain 100 max health at max legend stacks. Although this nerf will feel bad for many marksmen, Alacrity is a perfectly viable alternative for most, so we don't expect the change to be very impactful. For example, based on statistics, Samira players who run Alacrity actually win about 2% more than Bloodline users prior to the change. Sustain is being hit for 12.6, as Vamp Scepter Lifesteal is nerfed from 10 to 8%. The same nerf will apply to Blade of the Ruined King, with its lifesteal lowered from 10 to 8%. Lifesteal on Shield Bow is once again receiving the same treatment, however there are a few more changes to follow. Lifeline Shield is increased from 275 scaling to 650 to 275 scaling to 700. Mythic passive health is being increased from 50 to 70. These changes aim at targeting the early game effectiveness of Shield Bow without reducing its power 3 items onward. A brand new domination rune will be added for 12.6 called Treasure Hunter at the demise of Ravenous Hunter. Ravenous is being completely removed and Treasure will take its place. Treasure Hunter works as follows. When you claim a bounty stack, gain 70 gold, increased by 20 gold for each bounty stack. So this is the ultimate snowball rune, and in combination with First Strike will lead to some nasty gold advantages. It's hard to say how valuable the rune will be compared to Relentless and Ultimate Hunter, but we will keep you guys in the loop. Bit of a random Darius buff is headed to live, with his ultimate base damage increased from 100 scaling to 300 to 125 scaling to 375. Darius has been a fairly solid S tier top laner in previous patches, so it's odd Riot's focus is not on the weaker picks. Nevertheless, this change will firmly lock Darius into an S tier position, as we don't see it being enough for a shift into OP. Jax has been ever so slightly on the weaker side in previous patches, so Riot's giving him a couple of buffs. Base health has increased from 593 to 615, which equates to 22 extra health. W base damage is being buffed by 10 at all ranks. Although the buffs aren't massive numbers-wise, they're changes that will positively affect you in every single game, so we expect Jax to see a nice bump for 12.6. As a result, a move from A into S tier is what we have planned. If you've been getting a little sick of the Tryndamere meta recently, you're going to like these changes. Trynd E cooldown reduction on crit is being lowered from 2 to 1.5 seconds. R cooldown is nerfed as well, going from 110 scaling to 90 seconds to 130 scaling to 90 seconds. A 20-second increase on ultimate at rank 1 is a pretty big window to where you can't play as aggressive. Both nerfs will limit Tryndamere's snowball power, and his tier list placement will be negatively altered. A perma-ban champ no longer, as Trynd will be moving from OP into A tier. For the complete top lane tier list, it's Quinn, Shen, and Garen as the OP picks. Watch out for Rengar this patch, as his quality of life changes will not only increase his power level as a jungler, but a top laner as well. The Shield Bow and Bloodline nerfs will lead to a small drop-off in strength for Ukshin, so he will be moving from S into A. The optimal low elo picks for top lane include Garen, Yorick, and Nasus. Shen, Fiora, and Darius are a few good ban options, as they are played at relatively high rates and are strong in meta. A couple nice Nidalee buffs are hitting the Rift, with her W mana cost lowered from 40 scaling to 60 to 30 scaling to 50. Cougar W AoE radius is increased from 225 to 250. Human form cast range on E is seeing a ridiculous buff, going from 600 to 900 units. Human E mana cost is buffed, going from 50 scaling to 90 to 50 scaling to 70. If you can pilot Nidalee well, she's going to be a great pickup for 12.6. Fact is though, most players can't. So for the average elo, we will be bumping Nidalee from B into A. However, for Masters and above, we can definitely see Nidalee being a very high priority pick. Hecarim has been in our OP tier for the majority of Season 12, but his supremacy will expire in 12.6. Q base damage is lowered from 60 scaling to 208 down to 60 scaling to 180. 28 damage off at level 9 is pretty massive, as it's a spell on a very short cooldown that you can spam relentlessly. In a drawn out extended skirmish, you're definitely going to feel the effects. This nerf alone would be enough to drop Hecarim out of OP, but Riot's showing no mercy to the pony. E minimum base damage is lowered from 30 scaling to 110 to 30 scaling to 90. E maximum base damage is lowered from 60 scaling to 220 to 60 scaling to 180. Overall, a significant nerf to Hecarim's base damage, which will really hit the Chem Tank build the hardest. Take note that the ratios on Hecarim's Q and E were not hit at all, so it looks like Riot wants a more offensive build to be prioritized moving forward. Regardless, Hecarim will see a considerable drop off in power for 12.6 and will be moving him from OP into A tier. Rengar mains have been waiting for these changes for ages, but they're finally headed to live for 12.6. In previous patches, if you were to leap from a brush with 0 ferocity, you would not be granted a passive stack. That changes in 12.6, as you can now gain a ferocity on leap if you haven't already gained a ferocity from leaping since the last time you reached 0 ferocity. Ferocity fall-off time is buffed, going from 8 to 10 seconds. Bone Tooth takedown timer is increased from 1.5 to 3 seconds. Passive leap grace window after exiting brush is changed from 0.3 to 0.45 seconds to 0.35 seconds at all times. Passive leap range is slightly increased from 725 to 745. Moving on to Q changes. Q will now always count as a critical strike. Q damage now applies to towers, so this will feel really nice for those top lane Rengar players. Q is also no longer consumed on plants. We've got a couple E changes with the cast time being removed during leap. E will now grant true sight of the enemy hit and normal vision in a 150 unit radius around them for 2 seconds. The final buff is to Rengar's ultimate. Instead of gaining true sight of the nearest enemy, you'll now gain true sight of the nearest enemy along with normal vision 100 units around them. All in all, these are looking like some insanely nice quality of life changes for Rengar. Riot has the changes listed as adjustments in their notes, but we expect them to be much more impactful than that. Our pre-patch tier list prediction has Rengar moving from A into OP tier, but do take the rating with a grain of salt, as with so many different alterations, it's hard to get a super accurate read until the changes hit live. Rengar, alongside Diana and Kha'Zix, are the most OP junglers for 12.6. With Hecarim nerfed, this is the patch for Diana to completely take over as the pick or ban jungler. Nerfs to Vampiric Scepter and Blade of the Ruined King's lifesteal will lead to minor slices in power for champs like Master Yi and Viego. The best low elo junglers of the patch are Rammus, Volibear, and Shyvana. Graves, Diana, and Rengar are going to be great bans for 12.6. Azir's scaling power is being increased with his health per level going from 92 to 105. Base stat changes are often overlooked, but 13 added health per level is a good chunk of value for free. A ruby crystal costs 400 gold and provides 150 health. In knowing that, this buff essentially gives Azir a free ruby crystal at level 11. By no means will this buff propel Azir very far up the tier list, but a shift from C into B tier is what we see fit. Mid lane tier list will continue to feature Ahri, Fizz, and Veigar as the OP picks for another patch. Mid lane meta won't change a whole lot, however a few picks will see a small drop in strength. Yone, Yasuo, Irelia, and Uxin are a few fighter mid laners who like to run shield bow, so their early games become slightly weaker. Although Kai'Sa mid has become increasingly popular, it's not something we'd highly recommend for solo queue. The skill required to pull off the champion at a level to where she's more worth it than other mid laners is well above the average player. Top 3 low elo picks for mid lane are Veigar, Malzahar, and Annie. Zed, Kassadin, and Ahri are great to add to your ban list. So much has transpired down in the bot lane over the past 2 patches, so have a good look at how the tier list has evolved. Lucian is moving into OP tier as a result of his direct buffs, along with many other marksmen being nerfed. Lucian is also one of the few ADCs who is not at all affected by the fleet, shield bow, or lifesteal nerfs. 12.6 is where Lucian begins to take over. Jhin and Vayne are dropping out of OP tier as the item and rune changes will lead to Lucian flying past them. For those of you still spamming and banning Zeri, it's time to consider otherwise. The 12.5 B nerfs hit Zeri extremely hard, and she's nowhere near as strong as she once was. Veigar, Misfortune, and Ashe are the best low elo ADCs to spam. Vayne, Lucian, and Samira are the highest priority bans of the patch. The support role has been completely neglected in 12.6, as no champion or item changes means a very stable meta. Senna, Janna, Blitz, Soraka, and Renata Glask are the most OP carries. One key thing to note is that due to the lock nerfs from 12.5b, many supports are now seeing greater success with Even Shroud. Nautilus, Leona, Rel, and Alistar are a few picks, all winning more with Even Shroud, so don't sleep on the item in 12.6. The best low elo supports are Soraka, Blitzcrank, and Zyra. Renata Glask, Blitz, and Lulu are the best support bans to the patch. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about skill caps. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. As we sign off for this one, thanks for watching, good luck out there in 12.6, and we hope to see you back soon.